Hey guys, if you were part of my live stream last week, you heard me talk about Senate Bill 367 from the state of Missouri. What it essentially is, it's a combination of using the 10th Amendment of the Constitution to protect the Second Amendment of the Constitution. The 10th Amendment, of course, being states' rights, where it tells the federal government that any powers not given to you or granted to you in the Constitution, you don't have statewide. You don't assume those powers just because if they're not granted to you and spelled out specifically, then you don't have those powers. Those powers are now reserved for the state. So the state of Missouri, more notably Senator Eric Burlison, have taken it upon themselves to use the powers that they have via the 10th Amendment to protect the Second Amendment, which means that the federal government tries to hand out any unconstitutional laws that might infringe on people's Second Amendment rights, then the state of Missouri is using their rights in the 10th Amendment to say, hands off, you can't do that. Very interesting bill. I actually have with me right now in an interview, Senator Eric Burlison from the great state of Missouri. Check this out. This is a great interview. You do not want to miss this. Hey guys, today I have the pleasure of visiting with Senator Eric Burlison from the great state of Missouri. A lot of you guys across the country have been asking me about my opinion, what's going on with Senate Bill 367. Senator, tell us at a high level, but in as much detail as you can in a short period of time, a little bit about Senate Bill 367.
Thank you. This is really an issue that the states need to be pushing back against federal encroachment against our Second Amendment rights. You know, this is a way that we can remind the federal government who the parent is. You know, if you recall, history shows us that the states created the federal government, not the other way around. And so when we did, we agreed to create this federal system, knowing that, and people ratified it only after the Bill of Rights were added to it. And as you know very well, the Second Amendment was second on the list of importance. We made it very clear, the states made it very clear that that was an area that we wanted to make sure the federal government did not approach. And so this is a bill where we're reminding the federal government that any laws that you create, we are not going to be participating in helping you violate Missourians and their constitutional right or Second Amendment right. And so we actually passed this bill, this language, in previous years. Unfortunately, we had a governor that vetoed it, and we were not able to overcome it. So the status of the bill this year is I have filed it. We will have a hearing on this bill shortly, and then hopefully we'll be able to get it to the Senate floor, get a vote, and then send it on over to the House to get a vote.
So it still has to be passed in the Senate, is that right?
Correct.
Okay, so when does that vote take place?
I don't know when that vote will be. Hopefully we'll be able to get a better idea as it gets closer.
Okay, got you. The reason why I ask is because many of us, obviously, across the country are watching with bated breath to see what comes out of this. We've actually created our own petition at change.org that will actually disseminate an email that will go to all of the House and Senate members in the state of Missouri, as well as the Lieutenant Governor and the Governor. Every time this petition is signed, they will receive an email from us letting them know that we support your efforts. We just want to make sure that we have enough time to get our own word out and to actually talk to our own representatives and senators in our own states.
I appreciate that. We could use all the help we can get.
No, we're happy to help. You know, it seems from a Second Amendment standpoint, we always seem to find ourselves on the defensive. We always have these bills coming at us from all different angles, and we always seem like we're fighting them off. And for a change, it feels good to essentially flip the script and be on the offensive and pushing for some rights that are already ours.
Yeah, and we have seen the voters of Missouri respond very well to this. So I would encourage folks around the country, if you have legislators that need to be reminded, please encourage them. Look at what happened in Missouri. In 2016, I filed a bill, and because of the grassroots support, we were able to pass constitutional carry and stand your ground in the same year in Missouri. And so we, as a state, we really have worked very hard to protect our citizens and make sure that we're not, we're letting law-abiding citizens, we're empowering them to be able to defend themselves. But what's unfortunate is when we see what's happening or what's coming down from the federal level. And so it's unfortunate that we would even have to file a bill like this, but that's what we're doing. That's what this bill is all about.
It's nice to see somebody doing what you guys are doing, because I want to expand on what you said earlier. You know, the federal government seems like they've forgotten that the people created the federal government. We created the Constitution. The Constitution is there simply to recognize the rights that we already have. And it's sad that we have to do what you guys are doing to remind the federal government of those rights that we've already got. They don't disseminate those rights to us. They don't give us those rights. We're simply telling them what our rights are in the Constitution and telling them what their limits are.
Right. What part of shall not be infringed do you not understand?
Absolutely. That's a t-shirt right there. Let me ask you this. What's the opposition, or what are you hearing from the other side concerning Senate Bill 367?
Oh, we get a lot of response. We certainly get response from the gun grabber groups like Moms Demand Action, and there's a Gabby Giffords group that we get that come up and testify. They walk the halls. They come through our offices, and they send lots of emails as well. So these groups are well funded.
That's right.
They've got, you can tell when they walk in, they've got really nice shirts. They've got all brand new things. You can tell that this is not grassroots. This is really AstroTurf, and so. People need to be aware that your Capitol buildings are being invaded by a lot of these groups, and they're well funded.
Is there anything that we can do across the country outside of the state of Missouri to assist the efforts of you guys inside the state of Missouri?
Yes, certainly. Get involved with your state legislator. Contact them. The more that we see things happening around the country, that's a good thing. Also, what's good is if Missouri is not the only state trying to pass some of this stuff. That way, all the gun grabber groups are not focused just on our state. So if other states are doing things, then they can't just come in and rain down on us. So I would encourage everyone, please contact your legislator, let them know how you feel, and try to get things going in your state.
Excellent point. Do you know of any other states that have bills like this that are pending?
I don't know if there's any that are active today.
Okay. This is my final question, and this is my please don't tell me there's not a Santa Claus or a tooth fairy question. What are the chances of Senate Bill 367 passing in the state of Missouri?
I don't want to give anybody any hopes. Every bill that is filed, I always tell folks that, there's each year in Missouri we have probably maybe 1,000 bills filed, and maybe 100 make it to the finish line. So every bill has got a very difficult path to follow. And that, honestly, I'm in favor of the process being difficult. I think that it should be difficult to create a law. So we're going to put everything we have, we're going to put our shoulders behind this bill and put everything we have into it to try to get it to the finish line. But I don't want to give anybody false hopes that it's a slam dunk. It's a very, very, very difficult process to pass a bill. Understood.
I can't tell you how much we at Legally Own America and everybody else across the country that supports the Second Amendment are behind you guys and what you're doing. It's a sad state of affairs that sometimes folks at your level, state level and the federal level, are the only ones that people will listen to. The average everyday Joe like us, they simply don't listen to. What you're talking about and what you guys are talking about in Senate Bill 367 is the same things that we talk about. The average everyday guy, we talk about these things all the time, and no one is listening to us. And it's nice to hear some politicians who have been put in office who are listening to their constituents.
Yeah, this is all about the underlying philosophy that you and I were given such a great and blessed thing. We were given the opportunity to govern ourselves and to rule our own lives. And you can't rule your own life if you can't defend it. And you can't have free speech if you can't defend it. And so this, to me, we're seeing a lot of things come down from the federal level, red flag laws, already bans on bump stocks and other things. And this is a slow roll to ultimately take away our not only our Second Amendment, but all of our First Amendment rights as well.
I applaud what you are doing, what everybody else in Missouri who is helping you, what they're doing. And you do have our full support. And if there's anything else that we can do to support you guys, please let us know.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Senator. We'll be talking soon.